Perfect. Afternoon, we would like to welcome Hayden Springer to the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Hayden, making your tournament debut, just want to get some comments about obviously a place in tournament where you have fond memories of.
Yes, it's an exciting week for me because I grew up coming to this tournament, and so I have a lot of memories from when I was really little. I would typically come. My dad would take me on Monday or Tuesday, come out to the practice round, and so it's special for me now to get to be playing in this event.
Do you have any specific memories of coming out to this tournament? Like maybe at what age was your first one, or any specific players you remember or past winners?
I want to say I was really little whenever, like maybe 5 or 6 the first time that I came out, and I bet we came for maybe 7 or 8 years in a row. We would come out, and the main thing I remember is I would come with an empty hat, and I would leave with my hat would just be covered in autographs from everybody. So that's really the thing that I remember most, is just being excited to see all the guys and then try and get everybody's autograph that I possibly could. This just came to me, but I think it's Tim Herron. He would play this event most every year, and my dad really liked him, but you know, he was a popular guy because he would eat and drink some different things on the course. So I do remember that as a kid, seeing that, but yeah.
Were there any other player names that probably stand out on getting signatures with hats?
I feel like I remember, or I know for sure my dad remembers Corey Pavin. He actually, I think, ran back, and I had fractured my ankle, and so I was kind of hobbling around, and he made an effort to kind of like jog back and sign my hat. But I feel like I remember, you know, like Sergio and VJ and some of those big name guys. I remember watching them hit balls on the range and being excited about that.
Byron Nelson, high school graduate, so Byron was probably obviously someone you looked up to or knew a lot about growing up.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a big name in golf, one of the, you know, historically one of the best. And then, of course, going to Byron Nelson High School and kind of getting to have that legacy kind of carry over to then my high school team, and then his wife Peggy was a part of some of our events, and we kind of got to know her as well, and so that was pretty special. But you know, yeah, it's kind of a cool story to have played at Byron Nelson High School and now to be playing in this event.
I'll have a few more questions at the end about rookie year and competition, but I know Kevin Price has a few, so make sure to get a microphone over to him.
Thank you. So Hayden, we kind of touched on this a little bit walking up here, but with kind of the fine line of golf and how this time last year your status on Korn Ferry Tour and PGA Tour Canada was a little uncertain, could you kind of reflect on that journey in terms of kind of the big moments in the tournament in Wichita last summer that helped kind of propel you in a way to where you are now?
Yeah, I got conditional Korn Ferry status in December of 2022, but that kind of comes with some uncertainty with conditional status. You don't know what you're going to get into and all that, so I ended up getting a few sponsor exemptions, and then one of those being in Wichita, and that was the only cut that I made, and I finished somewhere around 50th, and that reshuffled me up a little bit, but it was kind of middle of the season, later in the season, so it didn't reshuffle me enough to get more Korn Ferry starts. And so then I went and played the summer in Canada with out of the Korn Ferry category up there, and you know, I ended up winning a couple of those events and finishing first on the Order of Merit, and then that got me to final stage of Q School this past year and a tour card from there.
Is it kind of wild thinking about it, how big the putt you made on the last hole Friday in Wichita kind of could have been for you in the sense of the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I don't make that putt to make the cut in Wichita, I wasn't even in any Canada events, right? So that I thinking about it, maybe I wouldn't even have been able to play any events in Canada, and you know, maybe I'm starting at first stage of Q school this past year, and you know, that's a pretty tough spot to be in.
And then playing Canada, kind of the decision to go play Canada and give that full bore, kind of speak to what that decision process was like, kind of the things you weighed at that time to decide to go up and play there for last summer.
I went back and forth, you know, talking to my wife and my parents and trying to figure out, does it make sense to go play in Canada, or does it make more sense to just keep playing Mondays? But Mondays they're so hard. It's so hard to Monday enough times to get enough points to really make anything of it. So we ultimately decided that, you know, let's go give Canada a shot, and it ended up being the right decision.
And was there any, you won 2 out of your last 3 starts in Canada, just an incredible run. Was there any swing key or thought or thing that clicked those 3 weeks, and kind of how would you describe just that run? I know it was a good top 10 in between too.
Yeah, I mean, I had seen my coach. We had, I think, maybe a couple weeks. I did 4 events, a couple weeks off, and then the last 3. And so I saw my coach in between those 2 stretches. And we found a little thing, and I started hitting it really good. And then kind of got myself out in the lead early in that tournament in Winnipeg. And the Friday round is really the one that stands out to me. It was probably blowing like 25 or 30, and I think I shot 65, and just I shot out in front. But yeah, I mean, I definitely hit the ball really, really good during that 3-week stretch, and then was able to just kind of keep it rolling and kind of get it done once I got in the lead.
With first season here, seeing these courses a lot of times first time around, have you played or been out to Deep Sea Craig Ranch before, or is this first time playing this course?
I've been out a couple times this year already. Just living in the area, it makes it pretty easy. And then I've played here a handful of times in different junior golf tournaments. That was obviously a long time ago, but at least sort of familiar with it. And I think they've redone it maybe since then, but I've been out here a couple times this year.
Is there any sense of comfort having this, and then again Charles Schwab Challenge, a lot of Texas events, being from around the area?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be at home and to be in Texas, kind of familiar with everything, and especially as it gets hotter and all that, you know, we're used to the heat. But I'm really looking forward to playing this week and then hopefully some of these other events in Texas.
What family and friends can you expect to have out following this week?
I mean, we've got both, I got my parents and my wife's parents, and then I think I should have a pretty good group following me from the golf course that I grew up at, Trophy Club Country Club. I think there'll probably be quite a few guys come out and watch me.
We have Adam Shupak right behind Kevin.
What was your secret for getting so many autographs at this tournament?
My dad shoving me and saying, you know, don't be afraid. But, you know, I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Can you remember, though, coming to this tournament and thinking, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, early on, this was a dream that was in my head to play, you know, professional golf and to do it at the highest level. But definitely being able to get up close and just kind of, you know, be able to interact, even if it's just getting an autograph, you know, it definitely helped to fuel that dream.
What's been the biggest surprise so far from your rookie year? What did you not expect?
I would say probably just the time management and the energy management of playing. Even though I haven't necessarily played like 3 or 4 or 5 week stretches consistently, this will be my 10th event this year, And so just kind of the energy, how much energy it takes playing out here with all that goes on, a little bit higher stakes, all of that stuff versus maybe some other events. I think that's probably been the thing that stood out to me the most, and something that I'm trying to learn from as quickly as I possibly can to be better moving forward.
We're gonna go to Kevin, then we'll get the microphone back to Matt. Go ahead, Kevin.
The Canada, I know you were 51st on the standings with 3 events left, and as you were climbing up, did it occur to you what could be by winning the points list, or were you just in such like kind of a flow that numbers and status things were kind of blocked out?
I definitely paid attention to where I stood and what was at stake, but I tried to just kind of block it out as much as I could, and you know, it never really serves you that well to think about the results. It can be hard not to think about the results, but I definitely, you know, try to just put that in the back of my mind. And I was also playing well too, which makes it easier, right? Like when you're kind of in that flow and things are working right, it's easier to kind of block it out.
What was the off-course routine like in Canada? Did you travel with anyone, and what was kind of the vibe?
Yeah, I traveled with a buddy of mine. We pretty much did all the, I guess really like the last 6 events, would stay together, travel together, all of that stuff. And so, I mean, it's not too dissimilar to being out here. I mean, you're playing practice rounds and practicing as much as you can, and then trying to rest and all of that. But it is nice to kind of have somebody to travel with and guys to hang out with when you're not on the golf course.
What was the routine of like when you would call home, like Emma and your family, like pre-round, post-round? What was kind of that?
It kind of just whatever worked, you know, whatever the timing was. But you know, definitely at night would call and we would talk. You know, sometimes if you tee off early or whatever, with time differences and all that, we wouldn't talk. But you know, I would say after a couple weeks, you know, I'm ready to get back home. So I was always FaceTiming and calling and all that stuff. And
then last couple ones. Looking back at final stage, such a magical week that, you know, to finish top 5 and get your card. What do you think about when you look back to that week, final stage of Q School and getting your card?
It's kind of a blur, honestly. I think just the emotions of Q School are already, you know, they're already heightened because you know you got 72 holes, and if you don't do it, you got to wait a year to try again. But then also just coming off of the last couple of months and you know, finishing first in Canada and all of that, and just looking back, it kind of feels like a blur, but I think I take some, there's some good takeaways from it, and just, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So every week you tee it up and there's a new opportunity, you know, so just trying to stay patient and just continuing to move forward, and there's going to be times where everything comes together.
And do you do anything for mental wellness in terms of meditating or reading or journaling, anything kind of along those lines?
I read a little bit. You know, I think mostly when it comes to mental wellness, it's more faith-based for me. You know, my identity is not on the golf course. It's not in what people might think of me or anything like that. You know, it's in Jesus. It's in the truth of the Bible, and so that kind of foundationally for me is where I get my my mental health and wellness is based. You know, but definitely reading, exercise. You know, those things are not only important for mental health, but also for performance on the golf course.
And we'll finish up, last one with Adam.
What's something that you know about Byron Nelson that maybe others in the field this week don't, from having gone to school there?
That's a good question. I don't know if I think the only thing maybe is I've seen his, there's like a medal from Augusta from winning the Masters that he has, that Peggy has. So I've seen that. I don't know if that's, maybe other people have seen it. I don't know, but she's shown the team. In high school, she showed our team that.
And one more, if you don't mind. What clicked during the week of Puerto Rico that maybe hasn't the rest of the season?
I think it's mostly comes down to iron play. I hit my irons maybe a little bit better that week, but there's such a fine line in terms of playing well and then not playing well. I mostly think it's going to be hitting, somewhere around hitting my irons a little bit better, hitting the ball closer, and getting more realistic birdie chances.
That's all the questions we have. Hayden, thanks for taking the time, and we wish you the best of luck this week.
Thank you.